And here we go.
Welcome to the Great Work Insights Podcast by the O.C. Tanner Institute, the show that features the people, the professionals, the thought leaders, and the coolest companies. And now your host, the man navigating the discussion about the culture, the organized chaos, and the best practices that compel great work, Todd Nordstrom.
So I made a bet with one of my daughters that she couldn't last a year without eating French fries. She accepted the challenge, and I'm proud to say we both lasted an entire year, not one single French fry. Well, on New Year's Day, over a batch of fries that we consumed as our reward, along with a crisp $100 bill for each of us, my 11-year-old looked up at me and said, "I bet you can't make it another year, Dad." And bet taken. Okay, so it's not a big deal, except a few weeks ago, I flew out of town for some meetings. Didn't get into my hotel until about 11 p.m., and I was hungry. I was ravenous. I opened up the room service menu, and I realized I was confined to the select few late-night dining options. You've probably been there before. Great, I'll order a burger, I thought. So I ring up room service, order my burger, and request a substitution for fries, salad, fruit, whatever else they have. "Sorry," the voice exclaimed to me on the phone, "no substitutions." "Well, okay," I said. "Can you please just don't bring the fries then?" Well, the person on the phone, they paused. It's almost like they didn't know what to do. And they said, "But fries come with the burger, sir." And I said, "I understand. I'll pay for the entire meal, but I don't eat fries, so please just bring the burger." And the voice said, "I cannot do that, sir. We're not allowed substitutions." You see where this story is going, right? No matter how much I argued with this person, I was going to end up with French fries. And in case you're curious, no, I did not eat any of them. Surely we've all experienced this type of frustration before. It's like that automated telephone system that seemingly leads us nowhere when we need help. Can we talk to a real person? Or how about this? I was at one of the famous big box stores over the weekend and overheard a customer asking a sales associate which juicing machine preserved the most nutrients from fruits and vegetables. Of course, the sales associate glazed over and replied, "This juicer is on sale." She had no idea how the juicer actually worked. The question I have about all these stories is this: have we as a society become too automated? I'm not just talking about technology, I'm talking about policy. They really have to bring the fries to my room or they'll get in trouble? I mean, does that make any sense? Systems, technologies, policies, and rules are developed to make life easier for the most part, right? But do they always make life better? Are we, as my guest today might say, becoming zombies, drifting through our work and lives on autopilot? It's my pleasure to introduce today's guest. Tom Stockham is a guy who, quite frankly, is fearful that our society is slowly killing off many of the people who could make our lives better, the people we would call the experts. Tom, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Before we discuss experts and zombies and all these fantastic things, I think it's important to give the audience a little background on who you are. I've known you for many years now, so correct me if I misspeak on any of this, but you actually built your career in the technology world and have a highly impressive resume. You were the former president of Ticketmaster.com, an executive at Match.com, and the CEO of Ancestry.com, and today you lead the front at Experticity.com. Tell the audience what Experticity does.
So all that is right, though I was not an executive at Match, but I was part of the group of companies that were Match and Ticketmaster and City Search and things, and I'm at Experticity, and at Experticity, we build communities of the type of passionate people, real-life influencers that you'd want to ask for advice or get inspiration from about what to buy and how to get the most out of it. The person who loves cooking so much and can't help but share their passion with you, or the person who is a passionate photographer and can't wait to share with you how you could take better pictures, all those kinds of things.
These are the people we're all looking for whenever we do any interaction at basically everywhere, right?
It is, and really, we are all getting really good at ignoring advertising. For example, we fast forward over the commercials on our DVRs. We don't even notice the parts of our computer screens that we think are dedicated to advertising. We're so excited when more ad blocking technology comes out and gets better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And even when advertising does work, you don't see an ad for the North Face and think, oh, I'm going to go buy that jacket. You see the ad for the North Face and think, I need a jacket. What should I be considering? The North Face, Patagonia, Arc'teryx, Marmot. What should I be thinking about? And next, what you really want is you want to find the kind of trusted individual who loves the stuff they do in their jackets so much that they're not trying to sell your jacket. They're just trying to help you have as great experience out of doors as they have. And so they're excited to share their ideas about the best jackets and what you should do while you're wearing them.
Yeah, absolutely. Not an automated response. Tom, I want to backtrack for a second to the first time I met you, which was probably, 4 years ago or 5 years ago. I don't remember. You and I were eating lunch at a sushi place in Salt Lake City. It was a very professional conversation until you started talking about zombies. And that's when I knew you were so cool. Tell the audience about your definition of zombie.
Well, we were talking, and it just strikes me that, for example, in retail in particular, we have sucked the life out of good buying decisions. For so long, we've been so focused on broad selection, low prices, and the logistics of getting stuff to people's doors. By the way, all of which are fine things, and we've all benefited from those as consumers, but we left behind the life, the passion, the excitement, the enthusiasm about the stuff and what I can do with it. And all of those people who are passionate like that, the people who used to go start their own little store, not because they knew how to run a store, it's just that they loved fly fishing so much they couldn't help themselves. Mm-hmm. They were obsessed with the details, and they spent way too much of their money on the stuff, and they fly fished all the time. They started a store, and then you could go talk with them, and they would get you excited, and you'd buy from them. Well, all that got killed off, and we were left with these buying experiences that are essentially full of nearly automated humans or people without judgment, people without life and passion who how'd we get here? How did we get there, though? Because,
I think, those of us that have been, walking around long enough to remember the 80s and the onset of really the big boxes moving in everywhere and seeing those little specialty shops disappear. Is it the fault of the big box stores?
I think it's partly that. It's so much emphasis on low prices, broad selection, the non-human, the technical, the automated parts of buying experiences, that we left behind the passion and the enthusiasm. We left behind these people, and these people, these experts, when you see them, they are obsessive about the details. They're constantly learning about what's going on with the latest trend in the category. They have so much experience with the stuff, they spend too much of their money on it. Self-admittedly, running enthusiast doesn't have one pair of running shoes; they have 12, right? Mm-hmm. And they do it all the time. They're constantly trying to get more out of it. They're having adventures in cooking or photography or running or whatever it is. And those are the people that you want to talk with about what to buy and how to get the most out of it.
Yeah, it's the guy at the hardware store that wants to understand your project better than you do, right?
That's exactly right. And they're so excited for you to do it that they're more excited about you doing the project than you are.
Okay, so let's talk more about your definition of expert. You kind of explained what one was in the retail world. Is this true? When I was talking about policy earlier, isn't the same type of automated thing happening in a lot of different industries, not just retail?
Sure. And by the way, these great passionate people aren't only in retail either. But yes, they're sucking the life out of things for technologies and efficiency's sake is happening, and I get why, and I'm not advocating for a less efficient way of doing things. What I'm saying is, don't leave the passion and the judgment and the enthusiasm behind along the way. And don't think that the only way to capture it is just inside a store or inside some kind of system you've built.
That's interesting. It's kind of like thinking about taking that guy at the hardware store who is the expert and who is passionate about your project and saying, now we've given all of you scripts to serve our customers. And he's looking at you going, what? I can see where a zombie comes from.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me be a thorn on the rose for a second. In today's world where companies are struggling to recruit good people, when we talk about experts, the guy who knows everything about plumbing or the guy who's climbed every mountain in the world, and you're running the store as the employer or as the owner or as the manager, are experts more expensive?
Almost always, experts on a per-hour basis are more expensive, and they should be, because they drive a lot more value. They pay for themselves in so many ways. It's not just that they, on any given interaction, convince a customer that it's worth spending the money now. They help a customer buy confidently, but they make sure the customer doesn't leave without important parts, so that the basket size is actually bigger when the customer leaves, and they help you run the store better, and they inspire you about the next products you should offer, and all of these great things that they do. And it's just that these people with the passion and the life create so many more advantages. So even though on the cost side, and unfortunately that's the place people look and focus so much more of the time, they may be more expensive per hour, they drive so much more value. And it's interesting, the people that we're talking about retailers now, we can talk about lots of subjects, but the retailers that have figured this out well are just overflowing with the benefits of it. The Lululemons of the world, the Apple stores of the world, all of these, the best retail experiences we have, guess what they're full of? They're full of passionate experts. Yeah. And the worst experiences we have, they're full of people who were just hired at the lowest wage, and they need a script because they don't know a thing about the subject and they don't care.
Well, I think a lot of listeners to this show, whether they're retail industry or any other industry, would agree with the old saying that one good employee is more valuable than 10 bad ones. It makes perfect sense. Let me ask you a question, though, about the value of an expert as far as it comes to information. In today's world where there's Google and we can find anything within a matter of seconds, what is that expert doing for us when it's a face-to-face interaction that Google can't do for us? When we do our search online for whatever it is, best hiking boots to hike the whatever trail we want to hike. What's a person do better than Google?
Yeah, so Google is such an amazing resource, and any of us can go get any amount of information quickly. But let's just pick again, go back to our running shoe example.
Okay.
There are single companies today that have more varieties of running shoes than existed in the entire category of running just 30 years ago. And with every single one of those new, nuanced, different running shoes, they come with reams of information, from the technical specs to the articles to the reviews that are written. And you and I both know really well that 287 reviews that result in 3.8 stars just is not helpful. It's overwhelming. I'm buried with information.
Yeah.
It's not that information isn't good, but there are certain people out there who not only engage in that information, they thrive. They love that information. It's their passion. They're on it. They're sifting through that. Why can't the rest of us benefit from that great thing these people who are passionate like that have done, and not be forced to go become an expert on our own?
Yeah, it's interesting that you use running shoes too, because as a runner, I hear about those 387 reviews, and I think, you know what, the odds that 387 people have the same feet that I do are slim to none.
That's exactly right. And you would recognize that, you get me going, I'll go off forever about it. And I just think it's ridiculous. But there are people out there, you might be one of them in running, who everyone asks for advice about what's the right thing to buy and how can I be a better runner and on and on. And let's bring that life back to great buying experiences.
So this is what Experticity does. It helps companies, at least retailers, right, build expertise. How do you do that?
So actually, we work across every buying opportunity, omnichannel. But what becomes clear to us is that the person who's passionate about running, so much so, for example, that they go figure out how to work at the specialty running store, they're passionate about running. They never shut up. They get asked for advice as many times after they punch the clock as they do while they're at their store, because everyone knows that they're the expert, and it's what they love talking about. They're also the people who write the most credible reviews online, the same exact people, all in every channel. So we work with brands and retailers to create better buying experiences by connecting with these passionate experts. And it works for everyone. It makes the whole everything better, not just buying, but again, I get more out of the stuff. I get inspired.
That's awesome. Tom, most of my audience here today, they're HR leaders, they're managers, they're executives. Most probably aren't in the retail business. Any advice for people listening to this show when it comes to experts versus zombies? Because I think that anyone listening today understands that we've become too automated, but yet we still need to build systems, and we still need to have experts. What's your advice for those other industries?
Yeah, in general, this notion that if you hire the right people and you hire people who do have a passion for what you do and have judgment, and then you can create a framework where you're giving them more ability to make decisions and recommendations on their own, you win from that. And it's not a brain dead thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not an obvious thing to do, even in some categories, but in category after category after category, this lesson is getting learned so clearly that when you suck the life out of it and you create such tight policies and you try and just hire interchangeable people that you've so policied up that they can't make any mistakes, you're optimizing, maybe you thought, for cost, but you're doing a massive disservice for your business, and you will not win in the long term by trying to minimize cost on this people dynamic. Someone else will figure out how to automate that policy-driven thing and do it without any people, and you'll be left without any advantage. In fact, you'll be left at a disadvantage because you've turned your people into zombies, and they are literally just a cost at that point. If you're going to go get the right people, get people who are passionate, who understand, who can use good judgment, give them guidelines, and then let them exercise that judgment and create great experiences, great outcomes.
Yeah, I mean, look at the bad experience I had with the French fries. Like, you really just can't not bring me French fries.
Exactly right. And the smart person, the person who really might not have been paid that much more but was passionate about service to guests might have said, hey, if we're happy to throw together a salad here on the side. And my gosh, wouldn't that have been a better experience?
Great stuff, Tom. Always a pleasure chatting with you. If listeners want to learn more about you or they want to learn more about Experticity, where's the best place to find out more?
Oh, love anyone who wants to learn more about us. And please go to experticity.com and whether you're the brand that's trying to connect with real-life influencers who are out there driving the consumer interactions in your brand story, or whether you're the passionate expert who wants a closer connection to the brands you love and the products you love, we've got a place for you.
Well, and I've been there before, and I'm just going to throw this out there because it's like you could really just tinker around all day. If you're a person that's into stuff, it's awesome. It's awesome. You guys do great work. Thank you so much for being a guest today, Tom.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Feeling inspired, motivated, encouraged? We want to hear from you. Rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes. And be sure to visit octanner.com for more podcasts and how you can inject great work and employee recognition into your organization. Now go out and make a difference within your organization.